Ood. Ood.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With nary signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
With Missy.
Just let me finish my thought before you fucking interrupt me. Wrong room to ask questions.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Hello. And we're live. We're recording. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. Your favorite podcast where you come to watch and listen to people talking debate over shit that they don't know anything about. Sometimes they do know something about, but it's opinion. It's all opinion. I am Nary Science. With me as usual is Mike Mercadal.
What's up, bro? I still stand behind that sex thing where I'm glad that like sex is good with like the default settings. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad I'm glad I'm that way. I never want to get to the point that happens to me where I'm just like, well, it's time to bring in some contraption or like some crazy thing that I have to pay people to do so that I can feel alive.
I wish that was the case for me. I wish I was born like you. And I mean that
I bet you do.
No, I really do. I genuinely, as I was gonna say, I do not mean that with any kind of sass or like or sarcasm. I genuinely do. Like, I wish it gets to the point where you're watching porn, you're like, that's not freaky enough. Like, let's move up. What's the next level up? Like, I feel like I'm playing a video game, and it's like I have to level up now at this point. It's one of those things.
Oh no!
I will say that I've gotten to some, like, when I watch porn, it gets to the point where I'm like, am I into this? Like, I'll do that. Like, I'll ask myself, I'm like, am I into this? And then I'll watch like 10 seconds and go, nope, does nothing for me. But at least now I know.
Interesting.
Right? Now I know that chicks with dicks, don't do it. Don't do it for me.
Well, trans women.
Give it a shot. The category in the porn site that I go to says chicks with dicks. I don't know what to tell you, man.
It's not as, I guess. I mean, they are progressive in certain ways and not in others, I would imagine.
I think I don't know if their web design is progressive.
Yeah, like the tags.
That's more of a editing your web page.
What if it was a Facebook thing where, like, because a Pornhub and all those online places got in trouble genuinely for like people posting copywritten material, essentially, like porn movies that you have to pay for, and people were posting them out to Pornhub, and they kind of like shut it all down. And now Pornhub has kind of just become like YouTube, where you monetize your own content. Like, people are posting the stuff that they have to own the rights to do that. I wonder if there's like a thing where they're just like Facebook now, where we're like, hey, we're not responsible if somebody does this. We're just a technology company. Pornhub is just a technology company with cutting edge video sharing services. That's all we are.
Well,
those categories are user created?
There is a prank that's like a viral prank that goes around where they play a sound effect. They play a sound thing, and like if the person knows what it's about. I had to have this explained to me. I had to have this explained to me because I don't use Pornhub at all. Like, it's not anywhere. I have two of like very frequently sites. Like, these are the two I go to, and then I'll have like I have like a third one where it's like those two I've already seen everything on there for the day. Let me go check out this other site. None of those three are Pornhub. So I had to have this explained to me. They were like, it was a video, and people were like, oh, and I was like, what's going on? Like, I was so lost.
You know
like,
what's funny is that people are like, oh my god, Neri doesn't even know the Pornhub thing. He must not watch porn. You're like, no, the other way, the other direction.
No,
I'm watching I'm deep cut. Like, there's no .com. There's a .iq .6948 whatever.
Yeah,
some foreign entity.
3 after it's www3 dot.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like you gotta like
some
put a number
dark web
after
shit.
the www. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know it because I'm too far into the deep end. That Pornhub is like it's too mainstream.
Your mainstream shit is hilarious to me. Like I legitimately, and I had to have that explained. And then you know who my wife sent me the video, and I'm like, I don't get it. And she's like, really? You don't get it? I'm like, no, I don't get it. And she goes, apparently it's a porn thing. And I go, well, not any porn thing I know. But like I was like, I'm not, and never would I claim to not watch porn or like be ashamed of it. I haven't been embarrassed about porn since 13, 14 years old when so, but I had to have it explained to me. Like, no, apparently when you go to Pornhub, and I was like, that's the issue. I don't use Pornhub.
Yeah,
and they couldn't believe. My wife didn't believe me. She's like, oh right. I'm like, what? You think I use that shit?
Yeah, like a weak sauce bullshit.
No thanks.
Uh-oh.
Jeff noted that nobody in Russia gets to watch Pornhub now because they blocked all their services. It's a true sanction if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah.
Oh, we have Ish. Ish is in the house.
What's up,
Ish,
boys?
welcome.
You should probably do like a full intro where we like for the podcast listener because you just popped up.
Okay, for the podcast listener, Ish has just joined us. For the audio listener, Ish has just joined us. Ish from the Pero Let Me Tell You podcast, which happens to be the first podcast we always mention at the end when we say go to geekbro.net, which includes podcasts that are not limited to, but include such as Pero Let Me Tell You. He is half of the Pero Let Me Tell You podcast. He was just at the 305 day selling chicken wings.
Yep. Just my hat.
You look great. You went to the gym? Did you go to the gym?
This cap is doing weird things. Yes, I just literally came back from the gym and popped on.
You did the 305 day? What is that like a wannabe Calle Ocho or is it like
No, it's more Calle Ocho than Calle Ocho because it's in Hialeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. I'm in New York now. Things have changed. I've been up here too long. Things are a little different. There's lots of new like even neighborhoods to go to. Like I went to Wynwood and they're like, no, you got to go. And they said a name and I'm just like, I don't even know where that is. Why would I? How would I?
The Leah. The Leah Arts District.
Dalia. Yeah, I think that was it. Where I'm just like, hey, you need to go check out this new cool art thing or this new place to go hang out. And I'm just like, I'm here to see my family and then leave. I am not here to mill around.
It is interesting though. I mean, South Florida, you know, we as y'all know, is its own little area. Like for instance, in New York on February 12th, nobody really celebrates anything. But here we've turned March 5th into a thing.
I mean, yeah, 212. Well, the 305, you have to credit our Lord and Savior Pitbull for like bringing the 305 into the praise be. Because like now everybody knows 305 almost to the point where like 305 means more like, and this was 212, like when Ludacris is listing off all of the area codes in which he has hosts. There's like
as one does.
As well, yeah. You got to use proper grammar when you reference Ludacris. But the idea of like 619, damn she fine, right? Like that's a thing. There's like 212, whatever. I've been 786 my whole life, so it's like
for you.
Yeah.
They added a new Miami-Dade announced that they are doing a new area code.
It's a 6.
They're adding a new area code.
What would it be?
It starts with a 6. I don't remember what the rest of them are because it doesn't matter.
You've already dismissed it as like you're not even second class citizens, you're third class citizens with your 6. 8.
Well, yeah,
I think it's 693. Is it 693 645? There you go. 645.
645.
Yeah, that sounds like something.
There's already memes of like everybody like that scene in Family Guy where everybody's dressed up real fancy. And it's like 5 786 954 and then Meg 654 645.
Yeah, I'll never call anyone with that area. I'm glad. Let's just say I'm glad that I'm not single. Because if somebody was like, "Hey, what's your phone number?" They said bust out with that 6 whatever bullshit, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, we can't date. Sorry."
Yeah. It's just too many and too many new numbers to learn. To be fair, when's the last time you memorized the phone number? You had to use
it's
the
about
phone number.
memorizing. It's about having that shit in your phone. Ugh.
Yeah, it's the principle. It's the same reason I wouldn't date somebody who's a green bubble.
Oh, that is true though. Oh no, those people are the scum of the earth, and we do not associate with them.
Like, what are you, a fucking serial killer? Like, no, like
have some standards, man. Like you gotta hey man, come on, take it easy. I'm not dating
my
you.
favorite thing about Apple is it is literally the pettiest thing, because there could be like it costs them nothing to just have like a symbol, not just green, but like a symbol. Like it's 100% on purpose. They hired psychologists and they were like, yeah, we need the text people to stand out as the other. And then we tell them, like, hey, fuck off. You're less than. They have the same, like, how you can tap back and do the the haha or whatever. They have that you could do that through normal cell phones now. Like the technology's there, and they're still like, nope. Fuck those Android people. Fuck them, and don't ever let them think they're one of us.
We should be thankful that they showed a degree of restraint and didn't make it red.
Ooh.
Like, the fact they went with green is like their form of compromise.
Personally, had that been me, I would have gone with yellow because they're cowards for not getting an iPhone.
Oh,
so I would have gone with yellow.
Yellow bellied.
The only reason they probably didn't go with yellow, and I say this because of my day job, it probably was an accessibility issue. So people who have trouble with their eyesight, like the white text on the yellow wouldn't have allowed them.
Yeah,
or the colorblind.
It's not
people.
Yeah,
why
literally that might be the only reason.
Why do you need to see? Why do you need to see cowards' text messages? You don't. Like, oh, I can't see your text message. You must be a coward. Therefore, I don't need to see you. That's it. That's the whole thing.
They implemented a thing at my job that is essentially like we're texting things like through a software handheld like Android device, and I have to use like the software. It's just an Android device with a special app on it. And it's essentially like all of these people are like, oh, I don't understand it. How do I log in? I'm like, it's WhatsApp. It's the same fucking thing you use to talk to everybody. It's WhatsApp. Like just log in.
The same
What's
thing
the learning curve on
all
this?
your family members in a different country.
Yeah, every other country.
Exact thing.
I work in Queens, and literally everyone has some family member in another country that is using WhatsApp, and you guys are like struggling, like, how do I do this? What's this? And I was like, shut the fuck up, you lazy assholes.
My father has never texted me to my phone, but he fucking daily sends me messages on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
He can't send those pictures of the kid. He can't do any of that from his regular phone to my regular phone number. He has to send it through WhatsApp. And I'm like, okay, bro, I'll get this fucking app for you.
You mentioned Queens. Whereabouts?
I live in Jamaica, way out, and I work in Forest Hills. So
I used to live in Forest Hills.
Oh yeah, I work in Forest Hills, where Spider-Man is from.
Yes,
and that's
You're burying the lead. You're burying the lead. You live across the street from White Castle.
That is true.
Oh,
that is
right off
literally.
No, I'm further out, off on Hillside. But yeah, I'm not gonna give my address out.
No.
Hey, come visit
the
me.
apartment number. Tell him the apartment number. It is the greatest. I went to visit him and I was like, "This is the greatest apartment location of all time." And he's like, "There's a crack addict on the street." I'm like, "Yeah, but look how close you are to the
There's
burger
a
shop.
White Castle and a KFC right next to me. But I will tell you, I only go to the bodega to get my sandwiches. As you end up morphing into that New Yorker stereotype where you start to like. It's just a corner store. It's just a fucking bodega. It's like not even a fancy thing, but you're like, nah, that's my bodega. When you earn a bodega nickname from the bodega guy, that's like a badge of honor in New York.
What does he call you? What's your
Chewbacca? Nickname? What else could it? Remember that hat that I had? I lost it.
I've got to ask why.
I had a hat. Well, that was
he's
Chewbacca.
6'5". He's 6'5", super hairy.
Okay.
I'm very big, and my beard used to be bigger. But yeah, I had a hat, and he's like, "Hey, Chewbacca, what do you want?" And I'm like, "Well, I love you forever. That's my name from now on. Thank you so much." But yeah,
I
no,
you're gonna get a sandwich named after you anytime soon.
Yeah, because nobody wants a hairy sandwich.
Nobody wants a Chewbacca. Yeah, let me get a Chewbacca. No one has ever said that.
Look at that chewy sandwich. Ugh.
Yeah. It'd be great if you have to walk in there and literally just order it by going, "I'll have a."
That's so funny.
They know.
No, that's what the urban outdoorsmen who are recreational drug enthusiasts. That's the noise they make.
That is the nicest way to say crackhead I've ever heard. Like, is that what they use on LinkedIn?
Well, like I guess so. Like that's like when you jazz up your resume. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I was in charge of project management. It's like
master of custodial arts.
Exactly.
Or janitor, if you want to be a dick about it.
I will say my favorite of the druggy variety is not the crackhead. They are too erratic and too unable to unpredictable. My favorite are the junk box, the junkies, the heroin guys, because they're the ones that they look like they're about to fall over and they never do. They never fall over. They always are like they're like full. They're holding like a chair squat. You know when you lean up against the wall and you hold that? They're holding that for hours. Like they're just like leaning and they never go. And they slowly go and they never make it all the way to the ground. It's fascinating to watch.
They're the only people who could probably do the smooth criminal.
Yes.
Damn it. So you beat me to it. I was gonna say, fun fact. That's who Michael Jackson used in the Smooth Criminal video. Is
a bunch of junkies.
Junkies.
Yeah. No, but it's a horrible problem that needs to be addressed with not cops. And I would love to see those people taken care of. And
Mike, I love the way you were like, you know what I don't like? The crackheads. You know why? Not because they use crack. It's just because they're unpredictable. Get your shit together, crackheads. You just like you're so erratic. You're so unpredictable. I need a more predictable drug user.
Name a more accurate term to describe a crackhead than unpredictable. Who else is going to walk up to you and sell you like the carburetor out of someone else's car? Like who? Like a crackhead could come up to you and say literally anything. There's no way to predict it. There's none, and they're going to say whatever they need to get more crack. And
crackhead's the ultimate improv artist.
Yeah. There's like a crackhead in the street. I need a suggestion for a sex act because I'll do that for $5. Give me some crack.
You've never met anybody who will yes and more than a crackhead.
I'm happy that I'm glad we got there, everybody. We did it as a team. What a success that was.
New area does New York? I feel like New York has more people than Miami. So why isn't there?
There is, man.
Why doesn't New York come up with a new area code?
212-646 718-917. Yeah, there's a ton of them. And it depends on like even Jersey has a different one. If you gotta
that's Jersey. That's
you go out into like Nassau County. There's tons of different numbers. So like yeah.
Does it make the news when New York is like we got a new area code? Because it made news. It made local news.
Did. The 646 one did initially.
The 646 was the like when they brought it out, and I remember there being those jokes now about like, oh, he's a 646 number or something like that. I remember seeing it on.
I saw it on whatchamacallit, Sex in the City.
That's what I initially thought too, Sex in the City. But I literally just saw the episode of Seinfeld the other day where Elaine had to get a new number.
Yeah, and there was a problem because she had to go from 212 to 646, and she was like, and it's just all that weird gatekeepy shit that like it means absolutely nothing, but it means everything, on the social ladder.
Well, I think it's just a matter of like seniority. Like you have a 305 number, you're grandfathered in. You have
your OG Miami,
Miami. And then it's like, you come over to this country and it's like, oh, I got a 786 number, which by the way, I've had for 1,000 years. Yeah. I've had a 786 number forever. And that's what people are like, okay, after a while, they'll let you in. So I assume that in 15 years, 645 people will be okay. But right now it's just too fresh.
It's just too new.
It's like,
I got lucky. I've had my phone number, the same phone number I've had it since 1999. Okay. And that was when 786 was new. So now I'm doing the hipster phone number thing. I was like, no, I got it before everybody else had it. I was an early adopter to the 786. I was in before it was cool.
I was kind of still waiting because you've been in New York for like 8 years.
Yeah, in May it'll be 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years. And I was still waiting for that text message like, hey, here's my new number. Like I've been 9 years of
Never.
that.
There's no need
That happened
anymore.
with walk-ins. That happened with a few people. They were like, here's my new number. And I was like, ugh, God, New Yorker. All right, we get it.
It's because I hustled T-Mobile when it was voice stream, and I'm still like grandfathered in. Like they had to like make me a new plan because they're like, hey, your plan technically my plan still has fave fives and free nights and weekends.
Whoa,
and I refuse
to
change it because I don't have any contract. I refuse to touch it. I pay like $49 a month for everything. They can't touch me. I mean, I'm talking about grandfathered in. The free nights and weekends thing, I still think about all the time where I'm like, I wonder if that still works.
This is the weirdest flex I've ever heard in my life. Like this is just like the weirdest. Like you can't fuck with me, son. I got a fave 5. You want what? Fuck with this, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really hyped about this fave 5 shit. All right, free nights and weekends.
What do you think he's gonna talk about the top 8 on MySpace? He's gonna be like,
well, to be fair, the top 8 caused a lot of drama. I mean, like of its era, that was a very kind of big deal to be like, oh, you took me off the top 8.
Oh, took you off your top 8. What did I do? You know what the fuck you did. You know what you did. I didn't know you saw that. Oh, I saw that.
I saw that. I mean, there's so much. That's the thing, and that's the thing about people our age. I say that generally speaking, like I'm 40, but like the transition from not having a smartphone in your life as a teen or an adult to then having a smartphone in your life to not having social media or anything like that in your life, and then having it, like going through the growing pains rather than just having it when you're born. That process of like, we were, Live Journal, then Friendster, and then, oh, well, I got to switch all over to MySpace now. And then everybody's adding friends and, oh my God, it's so easy. And then Facebook came out, and then you had to switch to Facebook. And then Facebook was real shitty because you had to it was by university, and you had to have an edu email and all that stuff at the beginning. So all of these growing pains of the internet that like I feel like I went through, and like there's a weird not millennials or Gen Z or whatever you want to call it. There's like this weird little gap where you basically, your whole life changed the second you got an iPhone. Yeah. Your whole life changed. And now it's just like accepted,
I remember the first time I saw an iPhone was like 2 days after it came out. I was working at a travel agency, and a customer came in, and he was a young kid. Couldn't be more than 25, but he was super young, even younger than that, I think. And he came in with the iPhone, and he went in, and I remember him like showing everybody the iPhone, and everybody was like in awe, like, oh man, that's so cool, and blah blah and all that stuff. The hood rat in me was like, how do I steal this? And like it was like a bunch of shit, right? And then I remember I'm at work. I was working, right? And it's a travel agency, and he gets a phone call, and he goes, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm here at the travel agency, whatever, blah blah. He's talking on the phone, and then he goes, yeah, no, I'll call you back from my iPhone. And the fact that he said I'll call you back from my iPhone, I was like, you could have just said phone, your cell phone. You could have said any other, but you had to specifically say
not
iPhone.
2 days after it came out. No,
I just flexed about having a good cell phone plan. Of course, he's gonna flex about having the only iPhone in a quarter mile. Like, of course.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It was, and I was like, and we all laughed. I laughed out loud too. Like, he's a customer, and I'm like, like I just laughed.
I remember watching that iPhone announcement thing. He got a round of applause, almost like audible gasps from scrolling when he did this. He went like this, and people lost their fucking mind. Go back and watch it. It's from 2007. It's not even like that long ago. And
I gotta be honest. I miss, you know what I miss? The album cover flips. I miss those. They don't have that anymore. Remember that? The original iPhone, like you're flipping through the album. You're like, oh, that's so cool. You know how many hours I spent downloading fucking album covers to fucking to update my iTunes, because my iTunes had a bunch of shit from BearShare that were illegal fucking files. But I had to go and then download actual album covers to find out, and then put the actual, you know how many hours I spent like categorizing and like, okay, this album, there's an actual name. It's not 76421 asterisk.
Yes,
fucking,
yeah.
I gotta actually put in the album name and the artist and then all the. I did that for hours, bro.
I just want to
Hours.
thank you for bringing BearShare back into my mind.
Yeah.
Like I had totally forgot that shit ever existed.
Oh,
Like,
BearShare was my
completely.
jam. While everybody was, I'm one of those guys that I just tried to like. We were talking right before you got on, Ish, that everybody's on Pornhub, and I'm like, I'm not on Pornhub, and this is legit. Like, I love porn, and I watch it daily, but I'm not on Pornhub. Like, I have 3 sites that I go to frequently, and none of those 3 are the main fucking porn
They're all
site
on the
in
dark
world.
web.
Yeah,
They
they're all
all
on the dark web.
May I make a suggestion, sir? I don't know which one, what kind of porn connoisseur you are, but I personally
that's way too classy.
I like to take 2 from column A, 1 from column B, and just kind of like switch around and see,
Because I go to a site called PornMD, which is a site aggregator similar to Pornhub, which it pulls. You put in what you're looking for, and it pulls everything from all the sundry porn sites. So
PornMD.
Yes.
Now we are sponsored by PornMD. All right,
ladies and gentlemen, for all your pornography needs. Go on over to pornmd dot whatever the fuck and you'll
.com. Just so it's not .org or dot
Nary's is .qr9 or 83. Let's go to comments.
I want that porn.edu.
There has to be.
Well, some of those videos are educational, I will say, for all the wrong reasons, but they are educational.
You learn a lot.
Yes.
Let's go to some comments. Here's my stepmom Yolanda. Hello. As we have this conversation. Winwood is awesome. She loves the murals. Missy, did I miss International Women's Day coverage?
I mean, we were just talking about porn, so that was right?
It was yesterday.
That's horrible.
International Women's Day was yesterday, so I guess
we're late to the party.
Here's an honest question, point of conversation. So everybody comes up with these days, right? Like there's fucking just whatever. There's
305 Day.
There's Golden Retriever Day, and there's all
National
these crazy
Donut Day.
Yeah, National Donut Day and Pizza Day and all that stuff there. Like, shouldn't International Women's be like an actual thing that's more than just a regular, like, because I feel as if when you have all these days, Guacamole Day, I feel like days like International Women's Day kind of loses its important. I feel as if like, oh, okay, today's International Women's Day, and what's tomorrow? Like, oh, tomorrow's National Piñata Day. You're like, okay, like it's just a fucking
women of the world and piñatas, same value to the earth.
They both got goodies. But
nice.
I will say though, I feel like International Women's Day is, from the U.S. perspective, I've only been hearing about it in the last couple of years. I used to work for a marketing agency that focused on Latin America, and El Día de la Mujer has been around like forever and ever and ever. I feel like, as always, the U.S. is a little behind.
Get out of town.
It's just now realizing women exist. I don't know. Like, we finally burning them at the stake. I don't know. But
I've heard of Women's Month, right? That's a thing. I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
March is Women's Month.
Yeah.
International Women's Day, I had no idea was a thing until I saw the movie Deadpool. When Deadpool came out, that's when I was like, oh, International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And that's when you get a dodo up your ass if you're a dude, if you're, and that's it. That's like payback, I guess.
Do we have to wait for that day though?
No. Okay. I definitely don't.
Not according to certain clubs I've gone to. It's
my dad, Tony. You guys don't remember bulletin board dial-up systems? No, but I remember having Prodigy. You remember Prodigy?
Yes.
I had Prodigy. We had a phone as thick as a brick, Yolanda says. Jeff taking vigorous notes as he speaks. I guess he's only typing with one hand.
He found PornMD.
Yep. Chiquita, that is my wife. If it is about social status, nothing made me feel better than the pink Motorola flip phone. So cute.
That was the shit, those flip phones.
Yeah.
The Razor? Is that the Razor?
They had other one. The Razor one was pink, but I was talking about this with someone because we still have like legit like wired phones in the hospital, and there's some old school ones that if you slam them hard enough, they make that dinging noise. Like they're like the old school handset.
Oh, like the bell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because those are the ones that we use when all the power goes out, those phones still work. So they're like the old school phone. And when you get the pleasure of like slamming that phone down, like we feel lucky that we still get to kind of do that. And we were trying to think about like what else comes close. The only thing that came close was snapping the phone close when you were like, fuck you. And it was snap, like that was the closest you could get to like slamming the phone down.
Steve Byrne came up with had a joke for a long time, and I heard him say this the weekend that the iPhone came out. I remember specifically. It's that same weekend that the iPhone came out. I was working with him at the Miami Improv, old Miami Improv, and somebody had it, and he's like, "Oh, can I see it?" Somebody had it in the audience. Can I see it? He's like, and then he like pretends to drop it or whatever, and he was like, "This is the thing," and then he made up this whole bit, which he ended up later on doing in a special, where it was like, "There's nothing like being able to like fucking fuck you to hang up on the phone, and now you got to be like, shut up," and do this whole thing. And it's like, and you can't even get thrown in the pool anymore. Like, remember when you used to throw people in the pool? It used to be fun. And like now you throw people in the pool and they come out and they have their phones and now it's like, you owe me $1,800. You owe me $1,800. That's what you owe me. There's a little prank of yours. That's how much it costs.
I love that we've come full circle now where like the phones are kind of waterproof, where you have a moment where you can save it. And there's that moment of like, oh, guess who's getting shoved into water again? Finally. Jeff said, it's called pegging, you heathen.
It's true.
And then Missy says, International Women's Day is on your episode title. It's true. We have to do this every show where I read what's in the title to make sure that we at least address everything. We have to talk in WuBro episode 352. We talk SAG Awards. I did not watch. International Women's Day and much more. For Missy's benefit, we are in the much more section of the show.
I think we're going backwards. We started off with the much more.
Yeah.
Then we got into International Women's Day. And now we could get into the SAG Awards because we're working backwards. The much more. I mean, the fact that, if anything, episode 352 should be titled porn.ed. Like, it's just
porn.edu. Yeah, I get the screeners because I'm in SAG, but I've never voted. I didn't vote. I feel like I shouldn't vote if I didn't see it, and if I'm watching it as homework, I'm not going to get like the real experience. Like if I'm forced to watch something.
So when you mean see it, like go to, I know this is a weird couple of years, but like actually go to the theater to watch it?
No,
or
they email them a link.
No. Right.
No, they gave me a bunch of DVDs, which is still weird. Like they send a bunch of like hard copy DVDs. I have like a stack like this.
For your consideration and all that.
Yeah, all that for your consideration stuff. And the thing is that if I didn't like, there's a lot of movies, of course, that I wouldn't organically see. And there's a lot of streaming stuff. So a lot of the stuff I did watch because they release it in a theater somewhere so that it's eligible for these awards. Yeah. But like Netflix and all those movies are still, part of it. But the what was I going to say? The fact that like, if I feel like I have to watch this in order to feel like I'm, I can't just vote for like whichever one I think. I was like, oh, I like that guy. Who won? I don't even know like which was there like any big winners?
Won for Best Actor for King Richard, which very good. He did a great job.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. It was on HBO Max for a long when it first came out. It was great.
Oh, that's right.
There's a lot of stuff on HBO Max that I haven't seen.
But it's like a big theatrical movie that was released simultaneously with a theatrical release. That's why it's a big. I mean, But you saw you saw Mortal Kombat though.
I absolutely saw Mortal Kombat.
You saw Kong versus Godzilla.
Yes, absolutely. It made my top 10 of 2021. I loved it. I am not the guy to be voting for the SAG Awards. I should be voting at the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Award.
I'm gonna counter that. You're exactly the person who should be voting for the SAG Awards, because if more people like you voted, we get some interesting ass nominations.
I'm still mad. I know Neri doesn't like Spider-Man No Way Home, but there was like some genuine like performances in that movie that I was like, there's 10 Best Picture nominations for the Oscars. Give one of them to this movie. All of the awards for these movies are going to things that I'm just like, I could give a fuck about this. You know what I mean? Like, I do not care.
Well, you know what there was so when the nominations for the Oscars came out back in December, there was this big like what to do apparently that people were mad that Spider-Man wasn't nominated, and they were getting mad at Don't Look Up or what movie was it specifically that they were like this movie, and I forget. I was like,
Don't Look Up.
Probably.
and I was like, why out of that? Why is your anger placed on Don't Look Up? It's not like it.
Because a lot of
is that the last movie that was announced?
Maybe it was like a heavy satire, and it was kind of like
it wasn't well received. I mean,
was
from critics
fine.
anyway.
It was basically just like a fuck Trump thing, and that was
it was awesome. I thought it was great. So
it was fine. Yeah, that's.
But
the
my question is why that movie? As far as Spider-Man should have been nominated, and that's a fine argument. You could have that debate conversation. Spider-Man should have been nominated, but why would you single out any one movie and be like, instead of like this movie, like why don't you just
maybe it's because if we're gonna have a quote unquote non-serious movie, right, like Don't Look Up is, then why wouldn't we give it to something that was a little more universally loved, shall we say, comparatively speaking? Maybe that's why. I don't know.
I just think people were like, well, here's the thing. This is that argument of like everyone's like, oh, superhero movies are ruining Hollywood. It's like, yeah, but they said that about Westerns, and then we got some great Westerns. They said that about, zombie movies. They said that every genre goes through these, like every generation, every era has fucking mafia movies, man. How many shitty mafia movies do they have to make? You know what I mean? Like there's there's some good ones, and then it kind of like ran its course. Superhero movies are just like the thing that people want. They want escapism.
I think the problem with what you're saying is that specifically with superhero movies is that movies that are not superhero movies or IP, intellectual property specific, are not making any money in the box office. And I think that's where the gripe of these old men are, because let's face it, these are the gripes of the old men or the old directors, Spielberg and Scorsese and all these people, where they're like, oh, superhero movies are killing the industry. And what they mean by that is like, if I make a movie it's fine if you have a Western, like there was a time where every movie was a Western, but other movies that weren't Westerns weren't suffering because of them not being Westerns. Where nowadays people refuse to go to the movie theater and pay these high prices for a drama. Because let's be real, we don't need a big theater. We don't need a big screen to capture the drama. We want a big screen to capture the fucking explosions and a monkey with a fucking tomahawk. Like that's what we want the big screen for. We don't want the big screen to like, and I see the pain in his face. Like, no, we don't need that. It's fine.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for the limitedness of and again, this all ties together, right? Because before, a movie would be in a theater for X amount of time. If it did well, it kept going longer. Then it would take a while before it made its premiere
over a year.
Yeah, on cable, on DVD, on anything. So
as a former Blockbuster employee, it's true. It was like a big deal that I could get to rent movies before people got the opportunity to rent movies. It was like a big deal.
I had that flex going on. Yeah. Like, oh, you guys. Oh, that's you guys aren't watching Never Been Kissed already? Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
Ever After, like we're having a big Drew Barrymore festival.
I was going to say, why are you guys hosting the Drew Barrymore Film Fest?
Well, Never Been Kissed legitimately came out while I worked at Blockbuster. Like it was a thing. I remember that. Yeah.
She owned the 90s. She was the best. Let's have like the late 90s. I have
no problem with Drew Barrymore, but it's just interesting that was where both of you went.
Yeah.
Well, I
think we both worked there.
I just drew back from the time that I worked there. I'm like, what movie came out? And I was like, I remember like that was a flex that I had with girls. I'm like, do you want to see Never Been Kissed? I have it.
Oh yeah, I can rent you that. Sure. I remember. Okay, I'm sorry, we interrupted you. Please,
No. By all means, go ahead.
No, I was just like, first of all, I want to see the Monkey with the Tomahawk movie so bad. Is that a real? You said Monkey with the Tomahawk.
Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, he meant
literally talk about it in your top 10.
Oh, but he's a great ape. He's the king of all the apes. He's a legendary figure. He's not a monkey with a tomahawk.
Not for nothing, but calling back the last week's episode about the top 10 of the movies, when you were talking about this movie, you literally mentioned the band that the song is "Get to the Monkey."
Get to the fucking monkey.
it took everything I had then a week ago to not correct you and be like, he's not a monkey, he's a fucking ape. It's clear as day. He doesn't have a tail. But now a week later, I make a monkey joke. God forbid. God forbid. All right. See how it is. Right.
It's because it's I'm wishy-washy with my opinions. Everything's very I waffle very easily.
Excuse me.
I remember I got to go when I was working at Blockbuster, that I got to see the Blair Witch Project tapes, before it came out, and then there was also they released this like additional thing that was it kind of gave it away what it was. So I got to know going into the like because I remember because they released a thing right around the time the movie was still in theaters, because they re-released it in theaters because it was such a small release and it made a bunch of money, and they were like, oh, we're gonna take it out again. I was going into the theater and I remember people like walking out of there not like believing it to be real, and I knew that it wasn't. Like I had like an extra like inside information because I had previously released this like a making of documentary or whatever it was. And I remember like people being like genuinely freaked out going out of the movie theater. That was an experience that you could have at a movie theater because you could not have it anywhere else. Now, I still kind of miss like watching a big comedy, like with laughing with a bunch of people in the theater. Like I miss that, you know, like I love watching a comedy movie. Yeah. I saw there's something about Mary in the theaters and it was insane.
That's where dramas are now on Netflix. They're all streaming now. Like a good drama, they're all streaming. And I think that's the gripe that these guys have with superhero movies. It's not so much that every movie is a superhero movie. It's that the only successful box office movies are superhero movies. And I think that's accurate. I don't knock them for like that's a thing. If you look at the numbers don't lie. And you look at the numbers, all the successful movies that reach $1 billion, which is pretty much Hollywood's benchmark of what a blockbuster is now. These are all these movies. They're all intellectual. They're all like IP and Marvel, and they're all these movies. And you get other movies that are, you know, I want to say they're good. What's that word where it's like no matter who you ask, it's like it's good. It's like
acclaimed.
Undeniable, or
you know, like when somebody's attractive and you're like that person is blah blah blah. Objectively. So you get these movies that are objectively great, right? Objectively good. Like the movie that you had an issue with, which I don't know why you had an issue with this movie because you haven't seen it, but the movie that you had an issue with last week when we talked about it last week, which was The Last Duel, is objectively a phenomenal movie. The acting is phenomenal. The whole thing is great. But it made $0, and it's not because of Ridley Scott. It's because it's not an IP movie. It's not a Marvel superhero DC movie.
Every time I hear that, I'm always reminded of that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where they're like, oh, did somebody get addicted to crack? Oh, did somebody get addicted to the way things were before and they're having trouble adapting to new environments? You know, it's like, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like, I used to be able to take this like $1 billion and jerk off in front of a camera and shoot all kinds of huge footage and spend $1 billion in my budget for CGI. And now I can't because it's not going to make as much money. It's like, well, adapt then. You know, other people are beating it.
I think
also you can do that on OnlyFans now, by the way. Just
that's actually
is our sponsor.
Breaking news. Me and Nisha started our own OnlyFans together.
Yes.
So you can find that on Porn ED.
Yes. And that window treatment behind him features prominently. It's very
Hey, I have a question, guys. Are there more doors in the world or wheels?
This is a conversation that literally the internet started having.
Yep.
And it is blowing up, and people are like, no, people are, and they acknowledge. So the way it started is there was a tweet that said, my friends and I just came up with the stupidest argument and I'm here for it. And it said, are there more wheels in the world or doors? And people started going like, no, there's clearly more wheels. No, there's clearly more. And it just started just back and forth. And it's like one of these stupid arguments, and you could go,
how are we defining wheel?
Good question.
Because there are wheels of cheese.
But how are we defining doors?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
so I think a door
is Jim Morrison one of them? Like how are we defining this?
All the members of the Doors count. But also, like, think about how many doors are in your house right now, just inside, internal doors.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna say this. I think my
6.
original answer was wheels, but I think now talking about it, I think it's doors. And here's why. Right?
Mhm.
We have a billion cars, and all cars have 4 wheels. Guess what, guys? They also have doors.
Yeah, they have 4 doors.
But
So
you're discrediting all of those tires that are in garbage dumps.
correct.
Yeah,
But look at go
those are wheels.
outside go outside in the Miami skyline and look at all the buildings. And imagine how many fucking doors are in that and just in one building. Imagine how many doors are in that building.
I'm saying, like, what a fun thought exercise. This is like one of those things where, like when you go on those, they always talk about the Google job interview or like the IBM job interview, where they would ask these questions that are kind of like impossible to, or something that is very like obscure, or something very specific, like why are manhole covers round? It has nothing to do
Oh,
with
I
the
know that.
job.
I know that.
Why?
Because it's the only shape that doesn't turn in that won't fall into itself.
Exactly. So like, but that's that, like they would ask something unrelated to see if a square you can pivot and turn in a way that it would fall in. But like this sounds like one of those type of questions, like how you think about it, we just blew Ish's mind about the manhole covers.
You did. So thank you for that. I learned something new today.
You can't be a Ninja Turtle fan without knowing the answer to that question. That's a thing, right? Like you have to like.
Yeah, when they go.
But you know what? Now I'm thinking about the wheel thing because again, okay, to your point about like think about the buildings, right? Okay, yeah, the buildings have how many doors, but then you think about all of the things inside of each building or each apartment that has wheel or wheel-like things. So, like, a coffee grinder, right? It has a wheel.
A watch. How many watches in the world that have flywheels in them? The car itself also has wheels inside of wheels that are called bearings.
Are we including like the little tape dispenser things? Is that a wheel? Like
that's a wheel. But then someone was like, I was firmly on like, because it's interesting seeing people break apart, like choose camps, right? Like there's a whole group of people that are door people, there's a whole group of people that are wheel people. Someone was like, oh, I was firmly in the wheel camp, but then someone reminded me about advent calendars for Christmas. Because you have to open the doors to get the little thing inside. It's literally, they call it, you have to open the door. And now it's like, oh, it's a game changer. What do we do? Like this is one of those things that if you like, if the wrong,
I'm gonna have to bring this up this week on my show. Like I because this is like
this is perfect. This is a perfect conversation to have if you're stoned. Like this would be one of the things where it could only get better if you're stoned. Like, you know what I mean? And this is someone I've never done pot, but this would totally, I want to have this conversation with a pothead and be like, what do you think, bro? Let me know.
I feel like in the wrong hands, this could also be dangerous because then people would just be like, no, man, it's doors. Like
literally writing
this divides the earth. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, it's wheels. And then it's like two competing armies clashing and fucking destroying each other. I mean, it could drive you. This reminds me of, I was on a road trip one time and someone taught me this game. And since then I try not to do it because it has legit started people getting very mad at me for not telling them the answer. And it's just a thing. And it's one of these like wordplay games, right? Okay. And at first people are like, oh no, there's no reason, you're just making it up, but then someone else will get it. Then the second person like reinforces the rule, and now the person that can't figure it out is pissed.
Okay, now I'm very intrigued. What is this?
Oh, should I do it? Okay.
I'm that guy. You can't drop that kind of a breadcrumb.
Yeah. So it's basically like talking about a person, and then you have to figure out what they like and what they don't like. I think maybe if my dad or my stepmom were in here, I think I've done it with them. I think this is one of the road trips that started driving people crazy. So you have to say like we were talking about, this person, they love social media. No, I'm sorry. I messed that up. They hate social media, but they love Facebook. They like
social media, but hates Facebook. Okay.
Yeah. They hate reading.
Tom.
No, and then it just kind of goes. We could spend the rest of the show doing it, and it's.
But I don't. But is this okay? But wait, is this one of those?
Well, what are the parameters? What do you just
Right.
you just start naming?
You have to figure out what it is, and then you have to tell me.
Figure out who it is.
No, you have to tell me what they like or what they don't like.
I don't understand the game.
So I say that okay. So they like they don't like fruit, they don't like vegetables, but they love carrots.
So what do I answer to this? I don't get it.
You have to come up with other things that they love. They
also you have to come up with similes, like similar.
No, they hate.
Things.
There's a very specific rule. They hate roads, but they love the street. And the level of thinking that is happening right now, chat. See if you could tell, if you could jump in and reinforce
I don't understand.
the rule.
Are you trying to figure out who we're talking about?
I don't.
Are you trying to figure out?
It's an arbitrary person.
So it would be like saying, so they love roller skating but hate cars, based on what you just said.
Yes.
So it's just trying to create this profile, continue creating the profile of the person, essentially.
It's essentially following a very specific rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get this game.
Right.
Like
I need someone to reinforce the rule. But yeah, like they hate reading, but they love books. And there's a reason for that. They hate MySpace, but they love Facebook. They love Yahoo and Google, but they hate Bing.
Is it Jeeves?
It's every human.
So you have to. So the way you continue that you have to say whether or not, like, you give me things that do they like this or do they like this? They hate that. They like this, and you have to kind of join. The whole point is to join in the game, and I wish it was better.
I'm just having a hard time understanding the rules of the game to join it.
Yeah,
you just have to tell
I'm
me
having a hard time understanding.
Like.
I'm having a hard time understanding what the goal is.
You have to tell me what they like and what they don't like. You have to join in what I'm telling you.
But the point of the game is, again, I've asked twice, so there's a third time I'm asking. The point of the game is not to figure out who we're talking about. Okay, you said that like that's crazy talk. Like no,
I answered you 3 times. I've answered you 3 times.
Yolanda says, "My mind has resorted to quote drinking out of cups. Lighthouse's rule. Whose chair is that?
Is this a haiku? Like, what was that?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
What the fuck was? I don't even know what that means. I'm so lost. I don't even know what that means.
They hate
drinking.
Are
we high right now?
Yeah,
is that what's just happening?
This is a very real game, and if I tell you the way it works, you will immediately understand. That's the whole point of it. Is that it's a very specific thing, and if you know it, you can also tell me what they like and don't like. They hate drinking, but they love booze. They, you know what I mean? Like, they hate eating, but they love food.
Are they
and
in
all
AA?
of them? Huh?
Are they in AA?
Potentially. It depends on how you say it.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Do we have am I the asshole?
No, I want you to be frustrated.
I'm not frustrated.
I think Ish got it.
I'm totally guessing at it. If I got it,
we're like
you're getting there. Yeah, they do. You're getting there.
Okay. Do we have am I the asshole?
You're so mad. See, this
I'm
is
not
the
mad.
point. This is
But
the
I'm
division.
Not mad. I'm not mad. I think it's boring. I'm not mad. I don't see the point of this game.
I just don't see the end result of
that's what I'm saying.
Where we get to. Like,
we're saying the same thing. It's like I don't see the end result, and I think
the
it's
whole
boring
point
I
of
don't
it.
care about the end result.
The whole point of it is like this doors versus wheels thing. There's never going to be a solution, but there will be a process in which people are trying to figure it out. Just like this fucking game.
But you see, the difference between the doors and wheels thing is that there could be a discussion had. Oh, what about this? Right. What about advent calendars? And have that discussion, and that's what creates the interesting, like, pot smoking mindset of like, oh, whatever. That game what you were doing, it's like, okay, like I literally thought of the whole eating. He doesn't like eating, but he likes food. Like I thought of that, and I was like, but that doesn't. Okay, again, I don't see the outcome. I don't get the outcome.
If you know the rule, it makes sense. And if you,
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying I don't see the point of.
I told you I didn't want to do it.
And I'm agreeing with you. I'm moving on. I'm not frustrated. You're just like, oh, you're so mad. I'm like, I'm not mad at all. I'm trying to get to the am I the asshole?
This kind of honestly sounds like whenever you ask anybody to explain cryptocurrency.
Oh, we've had that conversation on this podcast before, where people, I'm
convinced nobody knows. Nobody gets it.
And
Nobody
again,
knows.
I've said it before on a podcast, so I'm sorry, but I hate when somebody explains cryptocurrency to me, and this happens every single time, right? And then they throw their hands up in the air and be like, "It's weird, bro. It's weird," and that's it.
That means
That's
you
their
don't know.
disclaimer.
That means you don't know. I'm like,
that's their disclaimer.
Yeah. You don't know.
It's like it's this and that, and then money block and change and this and that. It's weird, bro. It's weird, and I'm like, okay. Same thing goes for the NFTs.
Is stocks for people who don't want to do the homework of the stock market.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a pump and dump scam. That's all they are.
Yeah, and that's close to an explanation as I can get to without anybody explaining it to me, because nobody can explain it to me.
Yeah.
We have two. Do you want me to read? Am I the asshole for upstaging my grandma at her wedding, or am I the asshole for going on an expensive vacation and not helping fund my sister's IVF?
I think the wedding.
The wedding.
Yeah,
the
wedding.
You want the wedding? Okay, you're the guest, so you choose.
I mean, I have a sister, but it's not my responsibility to help her get knocked up. Like, that's just like, sorry.
If we have time, we'll come back to it. Yeah. Am I the asshole for upstaging my grandma at her wedding? I'm 28 female. Maternal grandma is 71 female. This past weekend, she got married to her boyfriend of a couple years. This is her 5th wedding, which I mentioned not to judge, but because it's relevant later on.
You go on, Liz Taylor.
Yeah. The last time she got married, which is a very funny way to start a sentence, is the last time she got married, I was in junior high school and wore a cranberry strapless dress that my grandma purchased for me. Very much in line with a cocktail dress code. I didn't try to do this, but in hindsight, I wore makeup that was too much for a wedding. I just wore what I would normally do, toned down smoky eye eyeliner and a nude lip. Oh God, why did I pick this one? One of the granddaughters of the husband she was marrying then pulled me aside and told me I did too much and that I should wipe the makeup off before photos. I was extremely embarrassed, and the only other wedding I had ever been to was when I was 6. So at the time, I had no idea of the etiquette and was mortified that I had broken it. I ended up wiping off the eyeliner, replacing the eyeshadow with a nude eyeshadow, and putting on clear chapstick. For this wedding, my grandma reminded me that I should do a very toned down look and not upstage her at this wedding. These days, I don't wear nearly as much makeup as I used to, so I went with my daily makeup routine. Why did I pick this one? BB cream and light concealer, a nude cream blush with some light mascara. Happy International Women's Day. That was dark brown instead of black, and a sheer glossy pink nude lip.
She's barely wearing anything.
I mean, it seems like
I don't speak makeup, so I don't know what the fuck this means, man.
It feels like she's describing that going through a description of.
I know what she's doing, Mike. Thanks for letting me know what she's doing. I just don't know what she's actually doing to her face. I know what she's doing in describing what she's wearing. I just wish there was a link to her makeup tutorial.
I wish I could see it. Yeah.
The key here to listen though is like it's a lot of like nude. Skin tone, like it's very like she's not like green eyeshadow, type of deal.
Not doing her drag race looks. I paired this with a navy blue dress that I tried my best to match my grandma's request that the dress code is in between casual and cocktail. Ooh, she did put a photo of the dress for reference.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see.
Because that'll help.
It will. There.
Oh, that's a cute dress. It's very simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me do that. Okay. My grandma didn't say anything about how I looked during the wedding, nor did anyone else. So I assumed I did a good job of making sure she was still in the spotlight. However, today she got some of the photos back from her friend who was taking them. She said that I was the standout in all of the photos, and I was very tacky. It was a very tacky move to try and get all of the attention on me when it was her wedding. I apologized and said I tried to be as toned down as possible while still looking presentable. She said the right move would have been to wear no makeup at all and wear a more conservative pantsuit. At the time I got this call, I was with my paternal grandmother. They do not get along in the slightest. I could see why. Paternal grandmother told maternal grandmother that it was unreasonable to expect me to dress frumpy to please her, and that she had 3 sets of wedding photos for weddings before I was even born, that she could look back to be the star of the show if she wanted. This led maternal grandmother telling me she wished to take a break from speaking to me for a while so I could reflect on my selfish actions. I feel really bad. I didn't mean to wreck a special day for her, and in hindsight, maybe I should have approved my dress and makeup with her before the wedding. So I thought I'd get some feedback here to see if I am the asshole, if what I did was selfish.
I have so many thoughts.
Good news. Good news, guys. All right, we have good news for the poster. She's gonna be dead soon, so this is not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter.
Your grandma sounds like an asshole.
Legit. I understand now why there was 4 divorces. I understand why there was 4 divorces.
Yo.
I get it.
We all speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. La abuela está demasiado vieja para estar comiendo tanta mierda with how her fucking granddaughter looks, okay? And you know what the reality of it is?
Wait, Ish, hold on. For the English listeners, for the English speakers, Ish just said he does not approve of the grandmother's tactics to the way she approached her granddaughter.
She's too old.
She needs to stop being such a petty bitch, is what I said.
Look, we got Ish got a ja out of Chiquita. Ja.
Like, look, number one, you're 71 years old and it's your wedding day. So either you better step that pussy up, or you better or you better like not show up. Okay. Second of all, there are people who literally just by showing up in a pantsuit, like you put Sofia Vergara in a pantsuit and she's still gonna steal the show. Like there's just some people who, I'm sorry, no matter what they wear, they're just going to stand out. It is not their fault that you are boring. I mean,
that you like. First of all, I'm
also
about the friend that is taking pictures of the
younger than you, so maybe that's why she stood out more than you.
Yes,
I'm also concerned about the friend who was taking the pictures and was following this girl around, apparently, because she was like, "You're in all these pictures and you're standing out, and I don't look at." It's like, who's taking these pictures? You know, like someone should have said, "Hey, can you stand over here? Can you do whatever?" It's like,
con razón, she's on wedding number 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I gotta go. You guys continue this. I love you guys. I gotta get to work.
Gotta go to a show. Get to work. Great. Now, see, was he mad about the game or not? Was he frustrated?
Okay, I'm gonna say he was not mad, but he was frustrated from the perspective that he didn't get the point of the game.
Yes.
So it was a little bit of both.
Which, as a point to me, I said specifically that this is one of those things that started a fight, and that's the reason that it started a fight, because what I'm doing is
that's not what happened at all. What happened at all? It's not at
Big
all.
Brother is listening.
I'm more upset about this bullshit conversation than I am about the actual.
You're not on the show anymore. Go to work. Go to work.
Big Brother's watching.
Yeah, apparently. I'm gonna boot him from the fucking thing. I have control over it. I'm gonna ban him. Oh my god! Imagine if I ban him from the fucking studio
from his own show.
But genuinely, like that's a thing that happened where eventually it's like it was a thing that someone taught me, and then it was like that I played in the game, and I equally got super frustrated until they told me what it was. And it's almost like you have to wait a long time before you play this game again, because then it's like people are like, "Oh no, we're not doing that." Wow. But yeah, I kind of want to do the other "Am I the Asshole" to get your opinion, because you have a sister. I do not have any sisters, so this will be from a person who has sisters. Here we go. Am I the asshole for going on an expensive vacation and not helping fund my sister's IVF? My 30-year-old male, guy, sister, 34-year-old female, has been struggling to conceive with her husband for a few years now. They recently went to a gyno and were told they likely would be unable to without IVF. Obviously, she was upset about it. I don't know their exact financial situation, but she and her husband are both teachers at private schools. They said, this is very specific. I imagine like if you kind of knew them, you would know who this was right away.
Okay.
They said their insurance doesn't cover it at all, and
Which
that
it usually doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah. They where did the insurance doesn't cover it all, and that they were told it would likely be about $25K all in with medication and everything. There's no guarantee of success, and it could be $25K and no positive result. They asked me and my parents if we could help pitch in, and my parents objected due to it being against their religious beliefs. Interesting wrinkle. I did not see that coming. I'm not religious at all and don't have any ethical objections, but that's just a lot of money with no guarantee. So it seems like a bad idea, and I'm just not comfortable with giving that amount of money to a family member. My wife and I work hard. We don't want to potentially throw many
throw the money away.
Yeah, whatever, if it didn't succeed. So we told them no. She was upset but left it at that at the time when we told her. Well, my wife and I always wanted to go to Europe, and now that travel is back on, we decided to take a trip together. I don't use social media, but my wife does, and she got excited and posted on her story a confirmation of our flight being booked. Well, my sister saw that and then texted me saying how I was an asshole for spending all of this money on a vacation, but not helping my own sister have a family. At first, I brushed it off as her just being upset with her situation, but then today I got another mean text from her. Am I the asshole?
So, all right, I'm interested about the whole religious aspect of it, because
me as well.
I feel like, and again, as a lapsed Catholic, I feel like Catholicism is one of those instances where they're like, do whatever needs to be done to procreate. Like they will. So I'm assuming they're probably not Catholic. Probably some type of like Latter-day Saint.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I wonder what part of the process is against the religion. Like, is the
medical part? Maybe I don't.
Maybe the masturbation part, like, because you gotta rub one out.
They cannot extract that. No, there's only one way.
I mean, it is way harder to go in and get it when the guy's just like, hey, I got it from here. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I can do it. I can do it.
I got this.
You know, and also like what, like.
I mean, so,
I can't relate, honestly, because I'm child free. Like, this comes up on the show all the time. I've had a vasectomy. I do not want children. My wife does not want children. We do not want a family.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to put myself in the mindset of someone who is like, I can't be empathetic. I can be sympathetic, but I can't put myself in that position of
right.
Like, I want this, and it's so. But you know, like, there's other things I've wanted badly, but I can't put my mindset in this. So I can't have no idea how hard it must be for these people. But
that's one of those things where if you want it, you know, people who don't want kids don't want kids, and people who want kids, right? Like it's very it is what it is, and I'm applauding either way, right? Because it's a conviction. What I will say is, you know, based on this story, I'm getting the vibe that it's not as if though her brother has all this disposable income either.
No, he's like, yeah, we work hard. We don't want to throw away our money on something that's gonna fail.
Right, but see, I would be a little more if he was like, well, you know, I make, between the two of us, we each make 6-figure salaries and blah blah. Then I'd be like, okay, well, you know, maybe you can spare 10 grand, you know, if you're making that much money. And again, it would change it a little bit, but these don't sound like people who have it to throw away, shall we say?
Exactly, yeah. Like, they need their money. That's a, you know, they may not be broke, but their money is accounted for.
Right,
you know?
and to loan, that's another thing. I don't know, is this a loan? Is this a gift? But to give someone, you know, that amount of money, what was it, 25 grand?
25 grand, yeah.
25 grand. Like they said, on a maybe.
Yeah, it's hard.
If you don't just kind of have it, you know what I mean? Because I mean, a trip to Europe is not 25 grand either. So they, you know, it's not like they spent 25 grand to go to Europe.
Yeah. You know what bothers me about this sort of thing? Because it's always these people that are like willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars to have a baby, and if you ask them whether they want to, like, why don't you consider adoption?
Right?
They go,
it's like, okay, so then you don't want a child,
and I'm like, I don't. Again, this is from the outside. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're desperate for a family, I don't have that compulsion, so it doesn't make sense. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, you're the asshole for helping her. It's like, yeah, but also, like, what kind of person hasn't exhausted every opportunity and is like, give me $25,000? It's like, I mean, I think he mentioned the whole private school thing to show that they get money. Like, you can finance something. Maybe you can come up with a loan. Maybe you can do something else through external sources, like a personal loan or something like that. But like, I don't know.
Your decision to have a family is your decision. We're not talking about, like if my sister was to come to me right now and be like, hey, I need money because I need this life-saving operation, that's a different story.
Totally
right?
different.
Like, because, and that's one of those situations where it's like, okay, well, we're going to dump as much money into this scenario as we need to, because even if it's a low, success rate or what, like no question, right? Because you're saving a life. But for something like, oh, well, I want to see if maybe this will take and I can have a child. There's no guarantees.
The comments are very, not the asshole, but this one's interesting. If they think IVF's expensive, do they have any idea how much parenting costs?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they work in a private school, so they know what tuition costs.
Well, they also say you can, however, ask them to consider medical tourism. Plenty of countries where they can get quality treatment for a fraction of the cost plus a holiday. I know plenty of people who go to Colombia and come back with entirely new bodies.
Nope. I don't recommend that to a damn soul.
No. Trust me.
Because you know what?
I worked in the ER in Baptist, and I saw fucking bad news. Do not go get surgery.
No. I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday where it was like, you know what? Yeah, no, it's great. Oh yeah, you went to Brazil and it costs, $10 or whatever. It's like, great. And then you come back and your ass is sagging. It has sepsis. And now not only do you have to incur all that on your own dime, who do you sue for a malpractice situation?
That's true. Yeah, there's no accountability. I like my dad's answer. Tony Mercadal says, GoFundMe.
He's not wrong. I know many people who are super descarado and have started GoFundMes for less.
I had someone start a GoFundMe one time on my behalf, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're making me look like I'm what a piece of shit." Like, they're like, "Hey, and it was for a vacation. It was literally to like, hey, let's send Michael to somewhere." And I'm just like, "Hey, take that down. That's fucking stupid."
Why would they?
Because they were, there was a thing about me wanting to go on this trip, and I was like, oh, well, I can't afford it. I'm in New York, and I was, struggling and trying to figure. I don't have money to throw away on week and a half long vacations in other countries. And then they were like, hey, let me help you out. And I was like, no. That makes me look like such a piece of shit for a vacation. But if someone wants to like say, we need help having a family, if you can, put it on the table, like, we can't afford this without your help, and if anyone wants to help, please do so. I respect that.
It's much more than a vacation. Like it's a much more worthwhile investment than a vacation.
Yeah, there's a lot of people commenting about how some people are like, the odds are so much worse than they think. Her situation sucks, but you're not under any obligation to help her with like financially, but yeah.
And again, it's, oh, I can't afford the IVF. Can you afford a child? Like, can you? Because again, a child costs more than 25 grand to raise.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a big upfront cost, which I understand a lot of people can't do, but also like, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, what do you? I'm sorry. Yeah. Chiquita says it's hard to understand, but we're not talking about removing a tumor. If you cannot afford IVF, can you even afford having a child? The OG WuBro fan Rookie says, hey, take that down unless it's doing well. If there's money in the GoFundMe, don't take it down yet. We might be.
I will say this though: if you do ever have a GoFundMe for some type of medical situation, please don't, because you're saying you can't afford your bills and you can't afford this. Please then don't go and post Instagram pictures about all the trips and recreational activities and things that you've gone and enjoyed, because I have seen that. Someone that I know,
right, in their stories there's like vacation club night, and then we need help financially.
It's literally
new iPhone.
It's literally that, where it's like, oh my god, I have $10 in my account, I can't pay for medical, oh woe to me. And then it's like, wow, having such a great time going drinking around the world at Epcot. It's like, wait, what? No,
Whoa.
no, 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 like, no.
You
No,
pick that sounds way too specific. That sounds like such a real thing. And it's also like the most expensive way to go drinking anywhere. You're gonna go to Orlando.
But it's that. You know, so yeah, just
I get it.
A pro tip, shall we say.
I would love to hear someone who has a differing opinion, but I just don't know, like, I
understand feeling the familial obligation. Like, yeah. I get it because, you know, I guess, and I'm probably talking, you know, out of both sides of my mouth, because it's like, if my sister was to come to me and be like, hey, I need money for X, I don't know that I'd pull 25 grand out of my ass, but I'd see what we could do, right?
Any money you give to family has to be chalked up as a loss. It's not as a loan. Because you can't have that forever be a thing. Like, you as the giver can't be like, oh well, you remember I lent you $25,000 to have a kid. It's like, no.
That's a rule I have for anybody. If I lend you money, even though I know ultimately, you know, it's a loan, in my mind I'm like, I may never get that back, and I have to be happy with that. Like, just make peace and move on with my life.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, that is he's not the asshole. No, he's not the asshole. And I do feel bad for the family, but it's also like, you know, what are we going to do about it? And also, like, what would anybody do about that? That's such a personal thing to be like, man, because of you, I can't have my embryo injected. It's like, whoa.
Listen, I did not make you barren, okay?
That's such a that's so harsh. When I told people at work, this was back when I was still single, and I was like, they're like, what do you look for in a woman? I was like, oh, I don't want to have kids, so like, kids is the. And then someone who's English is not their first language was like, so barren? You want a barren woman? And I'm like, I mean, kinda.
Yes.
But, I mean, yeah. And now
I've literally just met you, and I'm about to ask you a very personal question. Did you have the vasectomy once you got married, or like
no? That was
eons before.
No, not. I mean, it was something I did in my 30s, but it was definitely a personal choice for myself.
So from the get go, you were just like, I'm not having kids. Let's remove the.
There's a lot of social stigma and expectation that I lived with for a long time, of like fear. I for a long time, especially going to a religious high school, and all of the horror stories about, if you get somebody pregnant, they can't have an abortion, and now you're their dad and you're stuck. And I was always super paranoid about getting someone pregnant, and it was that was like a big psychological barrier. And, you know what I mean? Because they traumatize you into thinking that there's no that it's like this evil thing and you're going to hell. And then in my 20s, it just also became a thing of like, oh, I'm not with people that I like. I'm just with people that you know what I mean? Like, that was a thing I told my friend recent, like a few years ago, where he was having problems dating, and I was like, stop fucking people you don't like.
But it's,
you know
what I
mean? Like, it is when it gets easier as you go. But I will say that getting stuck with a kid with anyone I've been with would have been like, it would not have been anything I want. The reluctant fathers, so many, like on stage, I'm like, if everyone had to be born on purpose, there would be like 3 people. You know what I mean? Like, there's like no, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of there's a lot of oopses out there. And the thing is that also you deal with the fact that you were an oops. Your dad now has to deal with a thing that he could have run away from, and then he would have been a piece of shit. So now he feels like he has to stay, but then he's a dick to you the whole time. You know, there's so much negative generational trauma from just the obligation to have children that's imposed on people, and the lack of affordable women's health. Speaking of International Women's Day, like women's health care. Yeah, I'll bring it back around. Like affordable health care, abortion access, sex education, all of those things fall under the umbrella of like, hey, if people don't want to be born, maybe there would be less traumatic childhoods. You know what I mean? Like, if you know, if you imagine if everyone was born was like on purpose and loved, you know, that would be
a fucking concept.
What a wild concept. But point being is that I made that choice for myself, and also like, it is. I've got, you know, like, I was old enough where the time reasonably spoke for me. You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing there was like 40 something women on Bumble wanting kids someday, and I'm like, oh boy, I don't. I hope. I mean, good luck, But I was always like difficult because it was like, oh, like then you don't swipe or whatever. But it's also like it's tricky because there's a whole social dynamic going on, and I feel bad for this woman. But genuinely, $25,000 is not like a hey, can you pick me up 25 grand on your way?
Right. Just put it on the bed on the table there.
Yeah.
Just there.
But that's why it's difficult. That's why this one was kind of tricky for me. But it was definitely a pleasure having you on, Ish. Thank you so much. Please promote your show. But let me tell you.
Yes. So for those of you, I see a lot of potential new listeners just in the comment section. So I'll do the shameless plug. But let me tell you, it's myself and my lifelong best friend, and I say that because I'm 42. We've known each other for 30 years. Do the math. Wow. It's been a while. Yeah. So when I say lifelong, it's real. But let me tell you, we're in our 5th season, which just started this year. We talk about, as I always say, anything, everything, and absolutely nothing. What that usually means is current events, the news, personal anecdotes, always from the perspective of 2 Cuban Americans from Huechete. And for those of you who don't know, that's Westchester. It's a little area in Miami. But whenever I say Westchester, people think it's upstate New York. New
York.
Oh, I always say Westchester. And we also do it always from promoting the Latino voice. And we've had many celebrities, actors, content creators on the show, and again, always Latino focused, because if we don't give ourselves a voice and create a table for ourselves, we're not always going to be invited to the table. And so we definitely want to make sure that we get that spotlight and voice out there.
That's great, man. Yeah, you guys have been like kicking strong for a while now, and definitely happy to be a part of the umbrella that we all live under with Neri and GeekBro.
Yes.
You can listen to all the other shows on the GeekBro network at geekbro.net, and you can follow Ish. Do you have Instagram or Twitter?
I do have an Instagram. I don't do Twitter because it's a toxic cesspool of humanity. As I say many times on the show. My Instagram is IJL26, and if you like pictures of me at the gym and or shirtless, then enjoy.
There you go. Thirst traps all day. And the Pero Let Me Tell You has an Instagram also.
Yes, and it is Pero Let Me Tell You. So you can just find it, look for it.
You can follow me at Mike Mercadal right there in the corner. You can follow at WuBro Pod, which is down that way, and you can send money on Cash App. We're I don't know. I don't control the Cash App. There could be dozens of dollars going through there, and
you should send it to this poor woman for her IVF.
Yes, let me say, where's the GoFundMe for this lady's IVF? You can follow that WuBro Pod on all social media. Go check out the GeekBro Twitter, Mount Geekmore, and all that stuff. Shiver podcast, Crimacopia, all the shows under the GeekBro network, and Kickflix. Kickflix has a shirt. Oh,
which
that's kind of cool.
It looks better that way, I think. Wow. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. But go on to the who I think it's in Neri's at Neri Science on Twitter and Instagram, and I think it's in his bio, the link to the shirt for Kickflix, or Kickflix Pod on Instagram too. That's our martial arts movie podcast. I'm trying to think of another one of the game thing that I could leave you on, because
you just want me to get pissed off now, like Neri? Is that what?
Yeah, this game ruins people, and it ruins situations. And I'm trying to think of what a good, another good example that will kind of give it away, but not obviously give it away. And they hate violins, they hate violas, but they love a cello and they love bass.
Are they in the percussion section?
No, you were closer with the AA thing. But yeah, the whole point of that is that once you get someone to join in and figure it out with you, that's when everyone's like, oh, this is real? Wait a minute. And then all of a sudden we're agreeing. We're like, yes, they do like that. And then people are like, what the fuck is going on? I'm telling you, once it breaks through, You can follow me on whatever it is, and I will join in the game. And we could do it. We could do it. I feel like I could go on Twitch, like those Twitch streams for like 3 or 4 hours, just doing that and see if people respond.
You should.
I should do that. Like, let me start a fight with Twitter.
It's not that hard.
I mean, genuinely, there's weirder stuff on Twitter. Let me get on there in a hot tub in a bikini. Yep. Although that might get something too. Who knows?
Listen, that's still not the weirdest thing on Twitter.
Okay, thank you everybody for checking out What's Up Bro. If you're the podcast listener or the audio listener, you can join us Wednesdays on Facebook and on YouTube. You can follow us for all the information, but you can join us and be in the chat like everybody else, like Jeff, Missy, Yolanda, and apparently my dad and my stepmom are big fans. They love tuning in, and then you too can be a star of the show like they have become. Yep. Thanks Ish again, and thank you Neri, and we will see you next time.
All right, take care.
Freeze frame.